everyone. We are the Game Birds, two neurodivergent Midwesterners who have been best friends forever. And we love talking about indie games because we play them heckin' all the time with or without a podcast. So today we are talking about Refined Self. It is an indie personality test game. Truthfully, I did choose a different game, but that didn't end up working out. And TikTok just happened to advertise this to me. Someone made a TikTok about it saying, hey, do you like personality tests? You should check out this game. And I do like personality tests. I do think, Brie, like when we were younger, I feel like we did a lot of personality test-like things, definitely a lot of astrology books and things like that.
Younger and now. We really have never stopped doing that. This is honestly perfect for both of us. I feel like maybe a couple months ago you sent me a link to an app about personality tests, so clearly it's just an ongoing thing with us. It's just interesting. We're both people who love to learn. Personality tests are just a great avenue for that. This one really surprised me because I have definitely seen some games like this. One of the games that came to mind that was going around, I want to say maybe a year ago, was called The Test, and I was assuming this game would be exactly like that, where it is a game, but it's just you sitting in a room answering a series of questions on a timer. That was my full expectation going into this game, but I was pleasantly surprised. It is nothing like this. This game is an RPG. You play as an android after your creator dies and you're trying to find purpose, and every single decision you make in that game matters. It really applies to a certain personality type, and you have a little heart in the top left-hand corner. Every decision you make fills up that heart. Once you are at 100%, the game is over, and then it assesses your personality. It is a very interesting mechanic.
I love that it also fills up even with some more subconscious decisions. I mean, when you sit on a bench, for instance, it's not only did you sit on the bench or did you not sit on the bench, it's also how long did you sit on the bench? Did you come back to the bench? Like real minutia pieces like that I was kind of surprised to see and pleasantly surprised. I really liked how specific it got with how it decided your personality.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, we should probably mention right at the top, this is a game that you cannot and should not play distracted. And it does warn you about that right at the get-go. It says, hey, are you streaming this? Hey, are you like talking to somebody right now? Is somebody in the room with you? Because it does also record your hesitancy, which is funny because like I feel like there are certain decisions because it'll kind of tally up your decisions later. And there were points where I didn't even realize or recognize that I did hesitate on a certain answer, but it's like, oh, you waited 5 seconds before picking this answer, and then this answer you picked right away. I was like, I didn't even think about it. It's genuinely these tiny moments. It is recording every single thing you do.
I actually didn't encounter that. That's awesome. I'm such a speed player. I almost regret even answering yes when it asked if I was like streaming or recording, because I was recording some of the gameplay, but I don't think it slowed me down at all. And I almost wish I had said no because I play so fast. I don't know or think that it necessarily skewed my results, but I do appreciate that at least warns you. At the very least, this game is really quick. So yes, you probably shouldn't play too distracted. You should really sit down and play this game. But the first playthrough took me a little under an hour. And that was me choosing midway, hey, do you want to do the slow version? It asks you about 50% in. Do you want to make all of your decisions affect only 50% so that the game lasts longer and you have more time to experience more? So little under an hour to do that. And again, I play kind of fast. And when I played 2 more times, I played 3 times in total. I didn't say yes to that slow down mode. And it took me about 30 minutes. It is meant to be played multiple times to refine your personality, but yes, don't play distracted.
I'm so glad the game gave me that warning from the get-go, because I am very much like, I'll start to play, I'll put the game down, I'm texting somebody. So honestly, I'm a very distracted person in general. So it was nice to have that warning, because I had to text my partner and be like, hey, I'm going to be gone for like an hour. I promise I'm just playing a video game. I'll talk to you in a bit. And very similarly, my first playthrough was a little under an hour. I actually did not choose the 50% option that it gave midway through. I did not choose it the second time either, and then there was no option to do that on the third playthrough. So first playthrough for me was a little under an hour. Second one was about 27 minutes. The third one was just about 20 minutes. The optimum play for this game is, I believe, 3 playthroughs so that you can fully get your personality score. I don't see why you couldn't continue to play this. It's certainly an option for you, but it is intended to be played 3 times through.
I think if I play it again, it'll be because 2 out of my 3 times I got a key and I never figured out what the key was to. And I
got that on my third playthrough and I was like, oh, well, it's to the lighthouse. It isn't.
It isn't. I tried the lighthouse. It wasn't to the lighthouse. I was so sure it was the lighthouse.
Same, because I was like, that's the only locked door I came across. It has to be the lighthouse. Spoilers, I guess, but it's not the lighthouse.
Oh my gosh. Like you mentioned, you're an android. You're kind of finding your purpose. This game is a Japanese game, and it's been translated into English as well as a number of languages. And it feels like a Japanese game to me. Like so much of how the characters act and speak, even though it's translated, I was like, this feels so Japanese. The kind of story it is, it gave me that sort of JRPG feel to it.
Yes, definitely like a JRPG anime feel. I can 100% agree with that. Actually, I don't know if you want to hop right into this about talking about like what results we got, but my first playthrough, I was a little braver in my first playthrough because I was just exploring. I was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. I was like, I could pick up a flower here. I could talk to these robots here. There is a little section right at the beginning. There's these robots dying in this little house. And oh my God, it broke my heart because there's these small robots and there's a big robot and there's one battery in the center. And it says like, okay, well, you have to give the battery to one of them or neither of them. And let me tell you, I've made the decision for the small robots, the big robots walking away. I felt bad either way. So my third playthrough, I just like walked away from that completely. But my top personality was researcher. My second one was traveler. And my third one was clergy. These are all kind of different facets of the personality. Researcher was very interesting to me. This is very spot on for me. It says passion for gathering knowledge, considering the world, even if it's irrelevant to the game. And I'm like, yes, 100%. I love to really dig into games. I will open every chest. I will go in every room, often to like no avail. There is a section later in the game where you can walk along the coast. I walked along that coast for probably about 5 minutes before I realized that there's nowhere to go.
I was so sure. if I just kept walking, surely.
Yes, there's got to be something. I was like, oh, there's really nothing. Okay, shit. I'm glad I'm not the only one who did that.
I'm actually surprised I didn't get researcher because it kept showing me the word researcher like throughout the game. It kind of gives you a hint to some of the personalities that you are triggering, not the entire time and not everything, but just on few key moments. And I saw researcher a lot for those key moments, but I actually didn't get researcher in any of my final personalities. So my top 3 were clergy, which you said was your third one, sage, and samurai. And so clergy, it says, I regret I can do naught but pray. A deeply gentle soul who offers a hand whenever someone is in need. And I mean, I think that's just definitely my game personality. When I'm playing a game, I'm always going to choose options that are like, let's clean up, let's help each other, let's give it to the small guys. Like, I definitely gave the battery to the little guys every time. Like, I don't need money to do this. Like, let's just do it for good intention. Like, that's definitely how I play games a lot. So I wasn't super surprised by that one.
Similar for me, where it's just like, researcher is definitely how I play games, I would say. Like, again, I really dig into them, but clergy is probably a little closer to who I am as a person. I mentioned to you, Alice, that I was a little emotional the first time I played this game, and it was the description of the clergy that kind of like broke me, because it was just like, your morals are based in compassion, you work to just put more happiness in the world would be a lonelier place without people like you. And I'm just like, oh my God, is that me? And granted, I am a researcher in life in terms of like, I just love to learn things. I'm a Gemini. I love knowledge. I love new information. I did forget to mention, my second one, which is traveler, which is a flexible sort who does as others do, approach things that haven't been done before. Again, definitely more me as a gamer, but I also wish I gave the batteries to the small robots each time, because I feel like they were a little more needy. It still felt bad either way. I'm like, I don't want to have to make this choice. I'm not God.
That's totally fair. Yeah, I just didn't even engage with it the first time, so I totally understand. I do think, as far as like my actual personality goes, I do think my second one on here, Sage, is a bit closer. Not that clergy is like wrong, but I definitely see clergy as like, yes, this is my in-game personality. Sage says, one who always prepares for possible crisis, better to reliably avoid loss than chance gain. So I feel like that represents maybe my anxiety perfectly, just always preparing for risks, dangers, and any eventuality. Keyword any eventuality. So I really liked that one. I thought that one was really fun.
It's funny too, because in my second playthrough, Sage was my main one. I was substantially more cautious in my second playthrough because I felt like I missed so much in the first one, because I didn't even encounter the character with the sheep my first playthrough, and then I had to like battle them at the end, and I'm just like, who is this person? I'm so confused. And then I found them right away in the second game, so I wanted to like explore a little more. I was also frustrated because there's a little section with a shrine, and there's an option to light all 3 lanterns, but I was only able to light one, and I was like, okay, I guess the other 2 don't work. And when I walked away, it said chose not to light the other 2 lanterns. I'm like, wait, can I light those? Dang it. So I had to go back and figure out how to light them on my second playthrough. But other than that, I just wanted to like do all the things that I hadn't done on the first playthrough, so I was trying to skip through some things. I was a little more cautious over like all of my choices, and because of that, my second one was still researcher, and my third one was gambler, which was very interesting. But I think it's because during the final boss battle, I chose the option option of 50% chance it'll hit like 10 times damage or it will miss completely. So, and I was like, hey, I'll gamble. I guess there was that one decision where it's like, she's a gambler. So it was interesting.
Yeah, so notably, there are a couple of very specific scenes where you do a sort of RPG battle. You're only guaranteed one at the end of every game. There is one RPG battle. And then there's just a couple other areas where you can kind of trigger it on different things. But it's not the same as maybe another RPG where you have a lot of skills and you're leveling things up and it's kind of like a central to the game. It isn't central to the game necessarily. It actually has more interesting and different choices every time. And it's not necessarily challenging either. It's more about the story than it is about playing the battle. But I thought it was a cute element to include, so it feels even more like an RPG.
I didn't recognize, obviously, until my second playthrough. Given the choices that you make earlier in the game do dictate your choices during that battle. For instance, in my second playthrough, I had no option to heal in that battle anymore. I had to be aggressive. And I was like, oh, okay, shoot. I was really planning on healing at some point, so I need to do a different tactic here. But it's because I made different decisions. And in that playthrough, I only found one of the sheep, and I was very frustrated, which meant my third playthrough, I was like, I am touching all those sheep. I need to find all of them.
Wait, I didn't find any sheep at any playthrough. You're telling me you find sheep? What kind of spoilers is this?
Yeah, there's a character who's in a tree, the one that you fight in the boss battle. You can find them earlier in the game, and they ask you to touch 3 sheep. I found them in the second playthrough, and I found one of the sheep, and then, like, the third playthrough, I was like, where are these goddamn sheep?
Oh my
I
God.
need to find them. So that was my whole goal. I will say, not that satisfying to find all the sheep. Nothing really happens. I was like, dang it, I thought this was the key to the whole thing.
Okay, well, that's still, I mean, again, it's like there's so many little things in this game. I'd almost want to go back and play it again and find where that key goes and where these sheep are. It's not the point of the game is to necessarily do everything. The point of the game is to do what you would do. It still somehow was fun enough and short enough that I want to go do those things, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that's something I really, really enjoy about this game, that it is so, like, non-committal in that sense. It is committal in the sense that you have to pay attention to it while you're playing. But at most, I would say your playthrough would be an hour. Again, this is something that I was able to do this morning, like right before I left for the day. I did it right after work yesterday. So I was able to kind of piece these out so that I would have, like, 3 different experiences. But I am very interested to go back just because, like you said, I really want to find where that key goes. It's driving me nuts. And there's a lot of things I really didn't get to. My third playthrough, I was, like, exploring. There's, like, I want to say a hotel building where you can go to different levels. I accidentally jumped off the roof. I didn't mean to. I imagine, which even sounds from this conversation I'm having with you, this is absolutely a individual, unique experience for everyone who plays. You really cannot get to everything in a single playthrough. It definitely lends yourself to playing multiple times, 3 at the very least.
I jumped off the roof on purpose. So.
Did you? You're like, well, fuck this.
I want to mention there are 23 total personality types, so you get 3 in your first playthrough and 2 more if you do 2 more playthroughs. But it sounds like Brie and I have a couple overlapping. Just want to mention there are 23 in total, so there are a lot more that just neither of us even touched or got. And after you play your first time, you do get a little option to read through all the different personalities, which is really cool. I like kind of looking through them and seeing ones that I wouldn't even imagine how to get them. Like, I don't know how to get clown. Like, I don't know. How do I be a clown in that game? Who knows?
How do? Yeah, exactly. Well, and kind of along with that, there is, I'm assuming, 27 different endings then. The endings that I got were the researcher ending, the sage ending, and the runner ending, which is like a small little cutscene for each of those personality types. There's really a lot to collect in this game if you want it. So the first playthrough, you get your main 3 personality types. And then on the second playthrough, you get your hidden personality type. On the third playthrough, you get your most distant, which is interesting. So for me, my most distant was collector, which is a hopeful sort who expects good in all things, loves treasure chests, and will give anything a try, which I did find very interesting because I was like, I don't understand how you could be a collector in this game. Your game would end in like 10 minutes if you collected everything you saw. Like, I'm like, unless you're, I guess, not throwing caution to the wind completely, I don't understand how you could be a collector in this game, but clearly people choose that option.
As somebody who also got collector as a secondary, it's actually my last one. I picked up every flower and any sparkle I saw anytime. I didn't go through the process of shoveling up a lot of scrap just because it's just a little too tedious versus walking, but absolutely picking up flowers. I don't know what they're for even still, but I always pick them up.
The first flower I saw I picked up, and I did dig exactly 4 times the first time, which it clued me in right away because I got that little notification, only dug 4 times, and I'm like, should I have dug more times?
Well,
Is
there's
4
no
not enough? Is
should.
4 too many?
The robot who gives you your fortune tells you there is no should. You should just do whatever you want.
Yes. Yes, and the fortune is pretty much the same either way I found. He's just like, yeah, just do what you want. That's your plan. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Did you have a favorite interaction or a favorite character you encountered in the town?
You know, I was playing the claw machine, and let me tell you, the first time I played it, I nailed it because I got the rabbit, and the rabbit knocked into the teddy bear, so I got both stuffed animals in the first go. I said, whoa, look at me, pro gamer strats over here.
Okay, listen. My answer to the question I just asked you was going to be getting the bunny from the claw machine and giving it to the character it's supposed to go to, but I didn't get the bear. So clearly you've just one-upped me and my story.
I do really like that our favorite interaction was the same interaction because that's exactly what I liked because I liked that I had gotten those. And then when I saw that lonely robot, I was like, oh, of course I'll give you a stuffed animal. Like, I don't need this. I love that was the favorite for both of us.
The bunny's so cute and he was just so lonely.
I know, although he looks very creepy in that cave. So I just like, here, please take this. Don't be lonely. It's going to be okay.
In that same cave, there's a skeleton who sells stuff, but everything he sells is 100 coins and I never had 100 coins.
Me neither. I was like, that is way too many coins. There's clearly a route where you can kind of extort people for coins, but that is never the choice I'm going to make. Like, I feel like there's a meme about this going around, but like, I can't choose evil options in games personally. Like, even just for like the thrill of like, oh, I wonder what happens. That's just not who I am as a person. I can't be mean to characters if I don't have to be. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just never getting coins, I guess. And also I'm not a good gambler, so I'm not going to get them that way. So sorry, Skeleman. I'm not going to purchase your wares.
I feel like I tried to play a Baldur's Gate run where I was evil and I just I just had to stop playing immediately. I was just like, I can't do this. I have to
I know, we're just not bad people. I can't even role play a bad person. I'm neutral at best, so
neutral, but
like chaotic. Yeah,
chaotic neutral.
Yes, I'm typically chaotic good, but I can maybe dip my toes into chaotic neutral, and that is it.
I will say in the first game, I spent an inordinate amount of time smoking cigarettes. And probably a lot of time even just choosing which pack of cigarettes I wanted, because a couple of them sounded pretty good. And then I feel like it didn't affect my personality as much as I expected it to. So I was just like, I'm just going to stand here and smoke cigarettes. It's kind of pretty fun and chill.
That's so funny, because I'm just like, oh, ick. No, I don't want to smoke. I'm not going to do that. I did spend a lot of time, especially in the first part of the level, just sitting on the bench, just kind of vibing. She just looks so peaceful, just closing her eyes. And I was kind of expecting something to happen. So I sat there for a couple of minutes and I was like, okay, nothing's going to happen. But, you know, I had a nice sit. Who doesn't like a nice sit on a bench? That was my version of you smoking, I suppose.
I also vibed on the bench, but I think the difference is I vibed for like a whole 10 seconds and thought that was really long. Like, wow, I did it.
I'm going to play this game for sure again, because there's just like so many things I kept coming across that I was like, oh shit, I want to do that thing, but I don't have time. There's just not enough time. Especially the third playthrough, which for me was the shortest playthrough, but I was trying so hard to get back to that person to tell them that I touched the sheep. I went to the shrine and there was a wizard in the shrine. I was like, I want to talk to this wizard so badly. That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh my God, I want to talk to this wizard, but I had to like make my final choice, because once you hit 100%, it asks you to do one final action. There's a lot of weight in that as well, because I was like, what's my final action? What's the last thing I do in this game? I was very stressed about that, and I really want to meet that wizard.
So I didn't know there was a wizard or that lady in the tree or that I'm supposed to be touching sheep. Clearly, just spending the entire time smoking cigarettes is not the way to play this game.
Hey, you know what? It is a way to play the game, so I'm just saying, you got options.
Well, I really, really enjoyed this game, actually. I wasn't sure if I would like it. I just knew it would be short and cute and called a day, but it was pretty emotionally moving. The story was, I would say, slightly confusing at times, but I think that for me is kind of the JRPG style where things are kind of unraveling in different order and like confusing in different ways. That's probably just a me problem, so at the end of the day, like putting the story together, really thought it was really interesting and moving. Yeah, really excited to play this again and try to just try to unlock the other stuff. Like at this point, I thought the personality part was really fun, but the game itself was also really fun. So almost just want to play more to see what else is out there.
I was reading some of the reviews, and again, this was my experience as well. Sometimes doing personality tests can kind of just make you emotional. So just like a slight warning on that. Just learning more about yourself and seeing it in a slightly different context can bring out some big emotions for people. Again, it did for me my first playthrough. I was also exhausted after work, so that could be a decent factor to that. But I did love that aspect, and I feel like the personalities that they assigned to you did feel very fitting. It didn't feel generic where it could like really apply to anybody. I think the game in and of itself, it's not overly complex. Like, it is pretty simple, but there is so much to explore and to discover. I'm definitely going to pick it up again. I'm definitely going to recommend it to other people so that I can kind of see what they get as well. Again, even talking to you, seeing that you and I played the game the same amount of times and seemed to have very different experience all 3 times, that's pretty cool. I would recommend it to really anybody who's up for that.
And for anyone who does play, it does give you a unique ID so that you can enter it into your game and compare with your friends as well, or compare to a random other person who's played before. It doesn't have any personal information or anything like that, just a way inside the game to compare personalities. Bree and I didn't exchange or do that. We just got on the pod and shared that way, but just a neat feature too if you do have other folks you know who are playing.
I think this is like a very unique way to do this kind of personality test. I have never seen something like this, and I think it is so interesting, especially it makes you game a little bit differently. It makes you play a little bit differently because you have to be so mindful of your decisions and how quickly you're making those decisions. This is such a cool game. Alice, thank you so much for introducing it to me, and I can't wait to play it again.
Well, thank you so much. Bree, do you know what we're playing next, or should I go look it up? I don't even know.
I think we're going to revisit a game that we had played once before, and we just put it down for really no reason. We have not played any multiplayer games yet, so we are playing Bokura. Look out for that. I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yay! I remember having a lot of fun the one time we did try to play it, so let's see if we can get farther in the puzzles.
Yes, let's do it.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye!
Bye!